Good morning all. So welcome to this session. So in the last class we will be discussing about the LC oscillators. Okay, the inductor and capacitor combination as frequency selective network. Okay, and we discussed there are two group of oscillators, that is Hartley and Colpitts oscillator. So Hartley, there is a two inductors in series and that series combination is in parallel with a capacitor. Okay, whereas a Colpitts oscillator, you have a two capacitors in series and that series combination is in parallel with an inductor. Okay, and we taken up the detailed analysis of Colpitts oscillator and we started deriving the frequency of oscillation in the case of Colpitts oscillator, and it is visible on your screen. So this is the expression we got. Okay, 1 by square root of L C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 is the resonance frequency of the Colpitts oscillator circuit. Okay, so it is in terms of radian per second. In case if you want to find hertz, so you have to include 1 by 2.5. Okay, so this is not only enough for an oscillator circuit, we need to know the feedback factor also. So we'll do the this analysis or discussion will further. Okay, so equating the real part. So we have first we have taken the equation and we have separated, right, yesterday. Okay, real part and imaginary part. Okay, so if both parts are 0, then it will start generating the oscillations, and to get the frequency of oscillation you have to make only imaginary part equal to 0. Okay, same way if you equate the real part equal to 0, we will get the condition for loop gain. Okay, to satisfy the Barkhasan criteria, loop gain equal to 1, so it is going to give that this one. Okay, amplifier gain, how much it should be. Okay, beta factor, how much it should be. Okay, so that A into beta should give 1. Okay, so that part we will continue. Equating the real part to 0 together with using equation 5 gives. Okay, so real part was in that equation Gm plus 1 by R minus omega square L into C2 by R is equal to 0. Okay, so I have not given this notes part, so after this session you write yesterday's and today's together. Okay, so this is the real part, we equate it to 0. So from this we'll solve now, and also we'll substitute for omega value. Okay, so omega value we got this one, omega square value is C1 plus C2 by L C1 C2, or this one you can substitute anyone. Okay, so that I have tried to do here. Gm plus 1 by R, omega square value C1 plus C2 by L C1 C2 into LC2 by R remaining. So LC2 will cancel out, so then remaining will take LCM. Okay, so Gm, so the LCM will be Cm C1 into R, it is there. Okay, so here first omega square we have substituted by equating the real part 0, and this is the frequency. Okay, so C1 plus C2 by LC1 C2. Okay, so then we have cancelled out and remaining is C1 into R. Okay, so Gm is there and the C1 into R. So sorry for the inconvenience. Just a minute. Is it visible screen, somebody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we are taking the LCM now. Just a minute. Okay. So we substituted omega square value here and cancelled out, and finally we got C1 R, and then C1 R will multiply with Gm, and here 1 by R is there, only C1 will be multiplied to the numerator, then minus this one, so minus C1, so this plus will be taken outside, so minus C1 minus C2. Okay, so that's only remaining there, so equated to 0. So then C1 R will multiply with 0, So it is also become 0, and here C1 cancel out. So what will remain finally is C1 GM into R equal to C2. Okay, so from this C2 by C1 is equal to GM by R. So which has a simple interpretation. So what is this C2 by C1? I told you one point yesterday. Okay, so just I will recall that very beginning. LC oscillator or Hartley oscillator. See here, one sentence I have made. The ratio L1 by L2 or C1 by C2 determines the feedback factor and thus must be adjusted in conjunction with the transistor gain to ensure that oscillations will start. So it should be adjusted with, because transistor gain is denoted as A, right? And then what is the feedback factor? Beta. Okay, so if you take the magnitude of their product, it should be equal to 1 to satisfy the oscillation criteria. Okay, so that's why gain is important here as along with feedback factor, and that feedback factor in this case of Colpitt's oscillator is given by C1 by C2 and L1 by L2 in the case of Hartley oscillator. Okay, so we are discussing the same thing. So first part we get the frequency of oscillation, and second part we try to get the ratio. Okay, C2 by C1 ratio GM by into R. So what are the interpretation of this equation 6? Okay, just to see, for sustained oscillations, the magnitude of the gain from the base to collector. So what is this GM into R is nothing but the gain. We have studied small signal operation of the BJT and we have derived this. Okay, there maybe I have, instead of R, it may be RD was there. Okay, so GM into RD, it was there. So even there may be R0 is not considered in this analysis. Even the load resistance RL is not considered in this analysis. Even there, if it comes, then GM into R parallel to R0 parallel to RL, like that also you will write. Okay, so in my this circuit, so I have taken a basic single R. That's why the gain of this circuit is GM into R. Okay, and this must be the inverse of the voltage ratio. This must be equal to the inverse of the voltage ratio provided by the capacitive divider. Okay, so which from figure A can be seen to be VEB by VCE. Okay, so from figure A, so this is C1 by C2 as I mentioned. Okay, but my equation got as C2 by C1, so it should be C1 by C2, reciprocal it should be. Of course, for oscillations to start, the loop gain must be greater than unity. Okay, so exact equal to 1, it is a Barkhasan criteria, but initially to oscillations start, we will keep slightly higher than 1. A condition that can be stated in the equivalent form. So GMR should be greater than C2 by C1. So when you are designing a Colpitt's oscillator circuit and when you are choosing these C1, C2 capacitors, so you have to take this GM into R product much larger than C2 by C1. Okay, so that should be satisfied. Okay, so as analysis grow in amplitude, the transistor's nonlinear characteristics reduce the effective value of GM and correspondingly reduce the loop gain to unity, thus sustaining oscillations. So while reducing these nonlinear characteristics, so its gain will reduce. So that's why we'll keep initially slightly higher than 1 and finally it will equal to 1 by sustaining the oscillations. Okay, so this is about the Colpitt's oscillator. Okay, the frequency how to obtain by equating the imaginary part to 0, and same way feedback factor by equating the real part to 0. The same way you can do the analysis in the case of Hartley oscillator. So it was not done in book, but you can do it in the same fashion. Where capacitor is there, you have to replace by 2 inductors, and where inductor is there, you have to replace by capacitor. Remaining everything is based on the Ohm's law. Okay, how we write the equations. Okay, so one more note here. Okay, in the circuit what I shown for Colpitt's oscillator, to focus attention on the oscillator structure, the bias details are not shown. Okay, for example, very first we started off with this diagram. Okay, so figure A for Colpitt's oscillator, figure B for Hartley oscillator, and for this transistor I have not shown any biasing combination. It may be self bias or voltage divider bias, I have not shown, because just to focus on the oscillator structure. Now if we consider the bias conditions also of the amplifier, then it is called as a practical Colpitt's oscillator. Okay, so that I try to show you how the laboratory setup of the Colpitt's oscillator looks like. Okay. Okay. As an example of a practical LC oscillator, we show in figure next the circuit of a Colpitts oscillator complete with bias details. Okay. Here the radio frequency choke, something we'll use instead of RC. Okay, RFC we call in short, provides a high reactance at frequency of oscillation, high reactance but a low DC resistance. Okay, this is essential for sustaining the oscillation because it is very sensitive. Okay. So this is the circuit looks like. So try to understand how to draw this circuit. Okay. So since it is a virtual class, so I have drawn already the circuit. Okay. How you will begin with. So first you have to draw the transistor in common emitter configuration. Okay. And then this is the input circuit, voltage divider bias circuit. See here, RB1, RB2 you have at the input side, and this is the coupling capacitor. Okay. And here you have the emitter resistor and coupling bypass capacitance. Okay. Then at the output side you should connect feedback, right? So that feedback is connected here itself at the collector side. Okay. So see here, anyhow we can connect. So this is the tank circuit. So where you have two capacitors and one inductors. Okay, parallel combination. And this is a feedback from the output, and its feedback is given as input. See here, where it is going, its output going to coupling capacitor. Through coupling capacitor it is reaching the input of the transistor. Okay. And another side it is connected to RFC, and from there it is connected to the power supply VCC. Okay. So this is how the circuit looks like. Is there any difficulty? Amplifier plus frequency selective network forms a oscillator. So Colpitts oscillator we will be using LC combination, that too two capacitors in series and series combination in parallel with inductor. Okay. So some circuits in some books you may be seen this as separate here. Okay, as you have seen RC section like diagram. So like that also they will draw, and from bottom they will show you finally to input only. Finally it will be connected to input only. Anyhow you can write, that is what topology we call. Okay. So this is the circuit. Okay, so there is no much explanation for that because already we have done the analysis of the tank circuit, and you have already studied the analysis of voltage divider bias circuit in BJT biasing circuits. Okay, only thing new was RFC choke. About that we have explained. It will provide high reactance at omega naught and a low DC resistance. Okay, so if they ask about practical, so this circuit you can mention there. Okay. So next there is a variant of Colpitts oscillator we will discuss called clap oscillator. Okay. So there is one of the drawbacks of the Colpitts oscillator. Okay, so that to overcome this oscillator was named. Okay, so one of the drawbacks of the Colpitts oscillator is that its frequency stability. Okay, so frequency stability is more important. Okay, so even in lab you will suffer this. Okay, while triggering this Colpitts oscillator circuit, so suddenly you will not get the waveform. When you are tuning it, suddenly waveform will go. Okay, because it is very sensitive and there are various factors it will affect for that. Okay, so but anyhow don't worry, output will come. Okay. So is very poor, frequency stability is very poor in this case of Colpitts oscillator. This is because as shown in figure D and equation 5, the frequency of oscillation depends on the capacitance C1 and C2, as these two capacitances are shunted by the stray capacitances of the transistor. So there is something called as stray capacitances, internal capacitances of the transistor. In that some stray capacitances will be there. The output frequency is not the same as the designed value, so it will limit that frequency. Okay, and also not stable since stray capacitance of the transistor are unstable. Okay, so this is the discussion about stray capacitances. You can look at that in the Google. Okay, so it is unstable since it is in parallel with the C1 C2. It is going to limit the frequency. That's why it is going to provide less frequency stability. Okay, so this is the disadvantage part of the Colpitts oscillator. To overcome that, a little modification is done to the circuit. Okay, to overcome this feedback, the inductor L is replaced by a series combination of inductor L and capacitor CS. So now inductor was only one, no, there. So for that, another series combination of capacitor C3 we will add it. Okay, only that is the change. Remaining all same with a very small value of C3 compared to either C1 or C2. C1 or C2 they have value. Their lesser value C3 will be keeping in series with the inductor L. Okay. So as C3 is less than, much lesser than C1 and C2, C1 comma C2 means both it is less. The stability of the circuit is improved because the frequency of oscillations is only dependent on C3 now. Okay, so its a dependency is focused on now C3 and not on any other capacitance of the stray capacitance of the transistor. When you take a very small capacitance in the series, so what will happen? So series, you know, 1 by C1, 1 by C2, like that we will take the equivalent value. So then is there any stray capacitances in the transistor that get nullified with this small C3 capacitance? Okay, so to reflect that stray capacitances, C3 is placed over there. Okay, and not on any other capacitance of the stray capacitance of the transistor. So we'll show this modified circuit, and which is known as the Clap oscillator. Okay, so this modified Colpitts oscillator is known as the Clap oscillator, where a capacitor C3 has been added in series with the inductor. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so this is the circuit looks like. Okay, so there is no much change. Okay, I may not be shown this, we not there. Okay, so this is the same circuit. Okay, there is no change. Voltage divider bias circuit, you have coupling capacitor, okay, emitter resistor and bypass capacitance. So here C1 C2 is there as like Colpitts oscillator, and there was only inductor in the case of Colpitts oscillator. Now I have added a very small capacitance in series with this C3. Okay, because of it is modified now, and its modified one will nullify any stray capacitances available in the transistor. Okay, so that will be represented by this C3, and because of this its name is now Clap oscillator. Okay, so this is about the circuit. So just we'll see what is the changes happens in the equation of the Colpitts oscillator. So assuming that all the three capacitors are in series, the frequency of oscillation for the Clap oscillator becomes. Okay, so in the, if we consider this closed loop, so C1 C2 C3 will looks like series, right? So assume that in that manner it will be derived. So the frequency of oscillation omega naught is given by L into C. Okay, so all the three are in series now, so we can find C equivalent. Okay, instead of just write C, you can say C equivalent, square root of L into C equivalent, and that C equivalent is equal to 1 by C1, 1 by C2, 1 by C3. Again, you have to take the reciprocal to get the C equivalent. Okay, and we know that C3 is much smaller compared to C1 and C2, so that's why C equivalent is equal to C3. Okay, so always, because it is in denominator, right? So if it is C1 is C2 is larger, much larger, when it you take reciprocal, its value becomes small. Okay, and C3 is very small. When you take the reciprocal, its value become large. Okay, so because of that, the C equivalent becomes you can write it as C3, and because of that, this equation can be written as now 1 by square root of L into C3. It does not depend on the right side of the tank circuit. Only L and C3 will be multiplied, taken square root, and then reciprocal if you take, you will get the frequency of oscillation of the Clap oscillator. Okay, so this is included in the notebook. Okay, book. That's why I have discussed it. But in exam, they may focus on asking Colpitts oscillator only. Okay, but this is a note, you have it. Okay, so Clap oscillator, and you know what is the basic changes you have to make. Okay, so no need to take much time here. Just you should know there is a modified Colpitts oscillator also. Now the same thing, whatever we have discussed in Colpitts oscillator, we'll try to solve a problem now. Okay, so this is the question, so just read out carefully. Just a minute, you read out, take time. Okay. So we need to consider all the equations here, starting from BJT, small signal operation, everything. Okay. So let's read the question. Using a BJT biased at IC equal to 1 milliamp. Okay. So IC they have given. Design a Colpitts oscillator to operate at omega naught equal to 10 to the power 6 radian per second. The frequency they have given. What is the target you have to set for designing a Colpitts oscillator? Use C1 equal to 0.01 microfarad. So in the tank circuit, you have C1, C2 and L. In that C1, they have given the value. And assume that the coil available has a Q of 100. So this is Q factor. Okay, Q factor of the inductor they have given, which is 100. To find out the L, you require the Q factor, no, that they have given. So in the resonance part in network theory, we have discussed this. Okay, so how you give Q of the inductor, Q of the capacitor. You can recall that. Okay. So this can be represented by a resistance in parallel with C1 given by Q by omega naught C1. So they have given for you the resistance value. Okay. So given by, so quality factor is given as omega naught 1 by omega naught CR, right? So from that you are R is given as Q by omega naught C1 with respect to C1 capacitance. Also assume that there is a load resistance at the collector of 2 kilo ohm. See here. So in our discussion, we didn't have the load resistor. Now load resistor also included, and that for the BJT R0 is also included 100 kilo ohm. Find C2 and L. Okay. So all the given values I have highlighted here. So IC is given, omega naught is given, C1 value is given, and the Q factor of coil is given. Okay, which is 100, and even the formula also they have mentioned for finding the R. Okay. Then along with that, they have given the load resistance RL 2 kilo ohm and the R0 100 kilo ohm. What you need to find here is the C2 and L, other two parameters of the tank circuit. Okay, Colpitts feedback circuit. So let's move on. So how to solve that first? First, we'll write down all the given things. Okay, what are the values given? So IC equal to 1 milliamp. Okay, so then omega naught is 10 to the power 6 radian per second. C1 is 0.01 microfarad they are given. Q is 100 and RL is 2 kilo ohm and R naught equal to 100 kilo. Okay, so straight away we have to use the formula and we have to do the analysis. As you know, very first we require the GM value. Okay, so we have two equation. One is omega naught equation, another is feedback factor. So using this, we have to find out the value. Okay, omega naught, if we consider omega naught equal to 1 by square root of L into C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. So we have only C1 known. Okay, C2 we don't know, L we don't know. That's why we could not take directly that equation. Second one is beta factor we have. Okay, so that is the feedback factor. So beta factor is given as C2 by C1 equal to GM into R. So there, what you require here, C1 is known, C2 you have to calculate. Okay, GM and R you have to first know. R you can calculate from the Q factor and omega naught and C1. Okay, and GM also you can calculate for the given collector current. Okay, this we have done in small signal analysis. For a GM of 1 milliamp, how much it is transconductance? It is a standard value, but still I try to show you how it came. Okay, already we have done it. If a collector current of 1 milliamp is given, you can directly assume GM equal to 40 milliamp because the calculation will give same thing. You know, GM is given by IC by VT. Okay, threshold voltage. So what is that threshold voltage is given by or thermal voltage? KT by Q. Even I have solved it in small signal analysis. You have studied for exam now, and you remember this KT by Q. K is Boltzmann constant, 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12. T is temperature, room temperature. Okay, 300 degree Kelvin or 27 degree centigrade divided by Q is charge 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, so if you substitute that, you will get approximately something 26 millivolt. So that only I have included here 1 by 26. So milli cancel out. So it will come approximately 38 point something. So it is equated as 40 milliamp per volt. Okay, because it is a standard value for a collector current of 1 milliamp. Okay. So this is the first calculation. Then R we have calculated because the formula they have given in the question itself, or you know that already from the resonance and we have discussed. So it is given by Q by omega naught C1. So you know here Q value, you know here omega naught value, you have C1 value. Straight away you can calculate 100 by 10 to the power 6 into 0.01 micro, 10 to the power minus 6. So it will give you 10 kilo ohm. Okay, 10,000 is the value you will get for R. Okay, I hope this is understood. First thing, everything we have written down, then GM we have calculated, and then R. Okay, everything substitution. So next we can calculate the C2. So what is the formula for sustained oscillations? Okay, in our discussion we have given C2 by C1 is equal to GM into R. In our analysis we have written only GM into R, but now in the problem they have given RL and R0 also, which is present in the transistor model. Okay, so because of that we need to consider that also. That's why the R part now is R parallel to RL parallel to R0. All the three you have to consider. Okay, C2 is equal to, so from this C2 is equal to C1 I will take in the numerator, C1 into GM into, so how you find the equivalent parallel capacitance? So it is 1 by R equivalent is 1 by R plus 1 by RL plus 1 by R0. But 1 by R equivalent is then to get this R equivalent. So 1 divided by this we will take. Okay. So whole 1 divided by 1 by R plus 1 by RL plus 1 by R0. So substitute all the values. C1 you know 0.01 microfarad. GM is 40 milliamps per volt. And 1 by R. R is 10 kilo ohm. We have calculated previously. And load resistance they have given 2 kilo ohm. And then R0 is given 100 kilo ohm. Okay. So use the calculator starting from right. Okay, so get this ratio, all these three add, then take answer 1 divided by answer. So you'll get some answer. Then multiply with 40 million 0.01 micro, and you will get 0.655 something you will get. Okay, so I have approximated as 0.66 microfarad. Okay, so this is what the answer for the one of the calculations C2. Okay. So a somewhat smaller C2 would be used to allow oscillations to grow in amplitude. Okay. So normally much lesser than this value we will be selecting for getting the oscillation. In the lab and all we will be doing this. Okay. So if we use some design, so in the design we will get some capacitor value. Okay. But that capacitor value may not be able to produce oscillation. We will tell you to maybe take some less value. Okay. So like that, trial and error will do lots of things. Okay, so AC lab or your ED lab, whatever you have done, so there are many trial and errors you have to do. Only then you will get the output. Simply I have given some circuit, you will do accordingly, and you will not change the knob of the CRO. Nothing you will do, you will not get any output. Okay, so you need to play with everything. You need to play with CRO, you need to play with function generator, you need to play with the breadboard connection. Is I made correctly or not? So you have to change the slots also, because in breadboard some of the slots may not be working where you have put the components. Okay, and then sometimes the components may be when you are connecting, suddenly a power supply given, so the biasing not proper, so it may be damaged. So critically when you are using transistor or a crystal oscillator, okay, all these things, the chances of transistor get damaged is more. Okay, because of that also sometimes you will not get. So at the end case, okay, not always doing this. So you need to do trial and error. First basic things you have to do, then finally you have to go for checking the components. Okay, so that's the thing normally happens in the analysis. Okay, so this is about the C2 value now. Okay, now similarly we have to find L. So L finding is easy because we got C1 value is known, C2 is known, so omega naught is known, so we can take the frequency of oscillation of the Colpitt's oscillator. Okay, so what is that equation? So we have seen omega naught is equal to 1 by square root of L C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. So omega naught square is equal to, so this C1 plus C2 again I can take in numerator here because there is no derivation, just problem solving. No, I will take it numerator C1 plus C2 and denominator remaining is L C1 C2. So all the values are known. Before that we need to find what L, right? So that's why we'll modify the equation for L. Therefore L equal to C1 plus C2 by this omega naught square will take in denominator into C1 into C2. Now just substitute the values. C1 is 0.01 microfarad, C2 0.66 microfarad, and omega naught is 10 to the power 6. So it's a square you have to take, and this you have to multiply here. Here capacitor should be added, here capacitor should be multiplied. So take the ratio. So you'll get approximately 101.5 micro Henry. Okay. So whereas in lab we will not get exactly 101 2. So nearest standard value will take it as 100 micro Henry. Okay. So hope it is clear. So this problematic part. So this was the discussion left out yesterday and completed with this. Okay. Okay. So in the next class we will be discussing the crystal oscillator part. Okay, so that is the last part left out in this module. So with that we will be completing the module. Okay, so we'll see that tomorrow.